He took a photograph of you and gave it to a psychic, hoping for an easy reading, all in the name of love. Candlelight cast a warm, muted light throughout the area. A distant, faint chime resounded, and the aroma of burning sage lingered heavily in the air. The medium remained still, her unwavering eyes locked upon the image. With her fingertips lightly caressing its edges, she held it as if she could sense its vitality. Things seemed to be under control initially. With her eyes closed and her face relaxed, she breathed slowly. Curiously, the guy sat down across from her. He had anticipated a carefree and entertaining outing, but that all changed. Caution flagged in her breathing. Then she felt a shaking in her hands. She looked uneasy when a shadow crossed her face. His initial interest became into concern as the guy leaned closer. The air became thick and heavy, and the room became much chillier. It was as if the psychic were saying something only she could hear as her lips fluttered silently. His heart was racing. This was beyond his expectations. He was hoping for a light-hearted glimpse into the unknown, a straightforward response. Now, however, a knot of terror curled around in his gut. A more fundamental sense was plaguing him, and he couldn't shake it. At long last, the psychic blinked. Their intensity caused him to recline in his chair as they sparkled. A perplexing blend of wonder and terror crossed her face. As if she had seen an inexplicable sight. Her knuckles became white as she gripped the picture even more tightly. She spoke in a calm, steady voice, insisting that you have no idea what you're dealing with. The picture was so painful to touch that her hands quivered as she set it back on the table. His initial interest transformed into fear. With an overwhelming need for answers, he drew nearer, but he was halted by the expression on her face. She seemed to be hiding something that would have a profound impact on everyone. With the exception of a distant, almost supernatural tinkling, the room became dead quiet. "Tell me what you mean." With an almost whispered tone, he inquired. In the still room, his heart pounded rhythmically. Nervously, the psychic twitched her fingers as she paused. She glanced at the portrait, then returned her gaze to him. As if stifling potentially harmful remarks, her lips pursed tightly. At last she spoke, her voice measured and thoughtful. She went on to say that the subject of the photo is everything from average. Their enthusiasm is contagious. Looked perplexed, the guy blinked. Very much so. He tried to process her remarks as quickly as possible. For what purpose may she be speaking? He was under the impression that he was familiar with you and everything that made you unique. However, uncertainties began to arise at this point. Had anything slipped his mind? Could he have never seen a different side of you? Something truthful that lies just below the surface? As the psychic laid her trembling hands flat on the table, she took a deep breath. Her eyes flickered to the picture and then to the room's shadows, as if trying to find something hidden. She started to say something, but her voice became weaker as she continued. As he followed her gaze to the dimly lit nook, the stranger drew nearer. Candlelight danced in the corner, but there was no one there. Even still, there was a thicker, chillier air, as if an invisible force were hovering just beyond the horizon. Which kind of authority? With a hint of nervousness in his voice, he inquired. The psychic made a tiny line with her lips as she shook her head. Something that only a select few can fathom, she whispered. She lowered her voice even lower, until it was hardly audible. There's more to it than that. Something about it is old, and that makes it worthy of reverence. It could be challenging to keep them and yourself safe. A knot formed in the man's gut. His knuckles became wider as he clutched the table's edge. Can you repeat yourself? As the psychic's uneasiness increased, her gaze shifted back to the darkness. She murmured something about how there are more than you would expect. A lot more than people think. For what seemed like an eternity, there was complete quiet. With every passing second, the man's heartbeat became more audible, its desperation permeating the whole room. With a pale face and quivering lips, the psychic eventually raised her eyes to meet him. A sound that was scarcely audible, her voice shattered the silence. She spoke out and warned that she felt compelled to do something. There is a purpose to this person's being in your life. In ways you may not yet comprehend, they are intertwined with you. As the stinging and weighty significance of her words set in, the man's palms shook. His jaw clenched and a barrage of questions burst out of him before he could control himself. Can you repeat yourself? To what end are they being referred? The psychic moved in closer, her shadow dancing in the candlelight, as the face twisted into an anxious expression. She whispered in a way that was sure to get people's ears. She described them as a soul that will change your life for the better. Her attitude was a blend of assurance and caution as she studied his face. However, change is never simple. They have an enigmatic ability that may heal your wounds or show you the truth about yourself. Things you have concealed, even from yourself. A knot formed in the man's gut. As her words sank into his consciousness, he felt a chill go down his spine. A parched throat made him swallow forcefully. Which kind of authority? His voice quivering, he inquired. Her back straightened as her eyes darted back to the darkness. She clarified that this power is intangible. Time stands still. It is powered by energy and connections. They will bring to light the hidden parts of you, the good and the bad. You need to be very cautious. You will not have an easy road with them, but they are in your life for a purpose. The weight of her words pressed down on his chest as they lingered in the air. As he attempted to make sense of everything, his thoughts raced. Is it possible that this clarifies his impression of you? That unexplained attraction he could never fully describe. A sharp gasp escaped the man's lips. With each recitation, the psychic's words become more audible in his mind. Find or heal the realities that haunt you the most. Could this be the feeling he'd experienced the whole time but been too embarrassed to acknowledge? The room was bathed in changing shadows as the candles danced over the surface. With his body rigid and his mind racing, he reclined. He could no longer turn a blind eye to the reality, whatever that may be. There was no going back now that he was poised precariously on the brink of an enormous and mysterious unknown. In order to reclaim the love it had stolen, watch this Type 111 video. The psychic's tone became more kind, even compassionate, as if she were attempting to reassure him. In her words, "This is nothing to be afraid of. However, it deserves respect." Their energy has the ability to unearth dormant aspects of your being, including your strengths and shortcomings, as well as your pleasures and sorrows. It will all come crashing down. With her remarks finally hitting home, the guy slumped back in his seat. The ideas that were starting to overwhelm him caused his mind to race. He had a profound epiphany. The focus of this psychic reading wasn't on you alone, but on him and the improvements you were quietly implementing in his life. Remembering all the times they had spent together, he reflected on your laughing, your smiles, and even the times when you were silent. They had taken on a new significance, and he could feel it in every one of them. Why wouldn't he have been more affected by your presence the whole time, had he failed to notice it? He felt a mix of comfort and dread at the same time at the concept. The air outside the psychic's chamber was chilly when he stepped out, but he wasn't shivering because of the weather. The last words said by the psychic resounded in his thoughts. They did not appear in your life by pure coincidence. Accept them as they are, but keep in mind that you get to decide how this change happens. The ache in his bones wasn't caused by the weather, however. The burden of the uncertainty was too great. What exactly were you? How were you supposed to impact his life? He felt a prod from the inquiry. Despite his fear of the response, he couldn't help but be drawn to you, as if you had some kind of irresistible magnetic pull. The true discovery was yet ahead of him, little did he know. His thoughts continued to dwell on the psychic's remarks even after days had passed. Like a whisper that wouldn't go away, they resounded in his head. Your influence on his life was so great that he couldn't shake you from his mind. Did you, however, realize this? Have you felt the psychic's claimed power? Alternatively, was it something you had without realizing it, like an unseen power? These inquiries whirled about in his mind like smoke, deepening the enigma that enveloped you. Still, the psychic's warning resounded more clearly regardless of his efforts to divert his attention elsewhere. Making a change is never a picnic. He was aware that there would be challenges along the way. For the first time in his life, he would have to confront his weaknesses and worries. Yet he knew, deep down, that the effort would be worthwhile. By the end, he would be wiser and more self-aware than when he started. Consequently, he decided. Embracing the uncertainty was his choice. He sensed a connection with you, therefore he decided to lean into the transition. Because you were an integral part of his path, he was prepared to confront any obstacles that came his way. He had faith that the two of you could face the future together and find out what was waiting for you in the unknown. If you want to attract love, like this video and write 777. A prayer for monetary blessings and enlightenment from up high. Just follow my lead. My prayer is that you, Heavenly Father, who are both wise and truthful, will show me the way. Show me the reason I am on this road. You have bestowed this radiant spirit onto me, and I will follow it wherever it goes. When I am lost, they shine a light on the path ahead, guiding me through the night. Please help me to have faith in your plan regardless of the circumstances, if their presence is here to cure me or lead the way. As the truth about them becomes clear to me, give me the courage I need. I trust that you possess the knowledge necessary for this trip. May I grow nearer to you as I go forward. It is my prayer that you would lead me through these trials, whether they are meant to cure me or to reveal underlying hurts. Please, Lord, make me stronger through all the trials and tribulations I face. The labor of my hands is begging for your blessing. I pray that my labors will bear fruit. Dear Lord, I pray that you will transform my trials into riches and that you would shower me with golden benefits. May you, Lord, lead me with your wisdom and kindness. May your heavenly precepts bring me prosperity. Make my financial situation better and my future more stable. Break free from the shackles of debt and hopelessness and replace them with a plethora of benefits. I pray that your bountiful blessings permeate my existence. May your grace permeate everything that I do, and may my efforts be transformed. Please, Lord, keep this covenant you've made with me safe. Let it be resilient in the face of life's challenges. May we both become more like you as we age, and may our actions be a reflection of your love. We ask that you to lead us at every turn of the road. Put our fears to rest and our hearts full of delight. I give thanks to you, Lord, since you have placed this spirit in my life. As one, we press on towards the end of your sacred mission. I have complete confidence in your divine plan. May we always be blessed as we journey together, steadfastly embracing your promises. Give this video a thumbs up and hit the Amen button to validate it.